It is a devastating experience, and the pain is excruciating. I came up with some helpful hints for you as a parent to try to get through this traumatic time. Welcome to Epic Mom Life. I am your host, Kara Peterson. This show is sponsored by The Possum's Tale, a unique book adventure for your 6 to 12-year-old child. Let's jump into today's show. 6 helpful hints to supporting your child when a family pet dies. I decided to do this vlog because I just lost my dog a couple weeks ago, and it is a devastating experience, and the pain is excruciating. So I thought, how would you support your child if they were experiencing this? Family pet is so much more than sometimes the reason we get it is to teach our kids responsibility, right? They have to pick up after them and they have to learn to walk them. And it also teaches them to love and have empathy. There's a lot of great lessons around a family pet. But this animal has become your child's comfort in distressful moments, their playmate when they're bored, their confidant when they want to share. Essentially, that pet has become their very, very best friend. And when they lose that animal, they can be left feeling bereft and have a lot of questions. And sometimes it's overwhelming for kiddos. I came up with some helpful hints for you as a parent to try to get through this traumatic time. Your story. If your family pet is getting older, you are aware that the inevitable time when you're going to have to say goodbye is coming. Have a plan. Get your story straight with your partner. What on earth do you believe? And that might sound kind of funny, but questions are going to come up about death. What happens next? Where did the animal go? And you're going to have to figure out what you're going to tell your kiddo. When I was about 6 years old, I had a cat. Her name was Cindy Lou Who, and I saw my cat get run over, and it was an awful experience. I was devastated. My dad and I buried her, and I asked him, Dad, what happens to Cindy Lou Who now? Will she go to heaven? I was really vulnerable and young and traumatized by seeing the entire event. My dad responded in his logical and automatic fashion, and he stated his beliefs, and we weren't a church-going family. Of course not. Animals do not have souls. Therefore, they do not go to heaven. Now, whether you believe this or not, how you answer this question you should know before this awful thing happens to your child. I argue to this day that he did not break this to me very well. I would have loved a lie, and in his belief system, that would have been a lie. I wanted to hear more than anything that Cindy Lou Who was in kitty heaven, and she was having fun chasing mice, and she had met all kinds of new kitty friends, and they were playing with her and having fun, and she was waiting for me to come see her. You need to be true to your belief system, but you will also need to balance what your child can take hearing. And this is really hard to do on the spur of the moment. So have your story and your plan ready to go. Space. How your pet dies determines how your child will find out. Make space for that within your family. If your animal is old and suffering and you choose to end the pain that the animal is struggling through, you will have to determine if it is better for your child to watch this process, to say goodbye before you take the animal in, or if you simply tell the child that the animal died while they were away, like at school, at friends, relatives, or playing. Regardless of which way you feel will be best for your child, give them that space to grieve, and remember, they will be mourning the loss of a dear friend. It may feel to them that this pet was the one member of the family that always let them talk, always let them be themselves, was always excited to see them and would cuddle with them for as long as they wanted and made sure that they never felt lonely. Now, whether any of that is true or not, the feelings are very, very real. So allow your child the space to have their feelings. Expression. When your child is ready to express their feelings, help them. You can encourage great memories of the pet that will bring slideshow from pictures. Show your child how to pick songs and compose music that goes in the background. They can find a song that represents how they feel about the animal, or, because that would probably be a sad song, or how the animal made others feel while it was with them. Closure, really good. Even though it feels sad at the time to say goodbye, it helps us see that there can be an end. And right now there's a lot of ick and there's a lot of sadness. And when you put an end to it, you give it a finality, it allows you to move on to the next thing. So whether you are cremating or burying your pet, find a place, whether it's your yard or a path you all like to go to or a garden or whatever, where you can create a little memorial. You can get a grave marker, or you can even have the children just paint rocks to mark the grave and say goodbye. When I was doing this, we have actually had 3 dogs that I have dearly, dearly loved and that have passed at this point. And 2 of them, we've cremated them. They were on our mantle. And at this point, this one hit me so hard. I was like, I just don't feel okay with them just on the mantle. That just wasn't enough. So my husband went out and in the yard, and we got 3 places to bury, and they're in the trees, and they're really pretty, and we found grave markers that we could use, and I found a flower that represents each of them. Like this last dog, Scarlet, was the happiest dog in the world. She just brought joy, joy. So she'll get a sunflower, specific way. Hope. Losing a pet feels really sad and bleak. Teach your children resilience skills to help them find hope. So, this kind of brings up a lot of those emotional intelligence or social emotional learning skills that I love to talk about, and I'll have a link to those in the notes. Of incredible sadness, if they are still working in their mind how it could have happened differently, and that's a natural thing for a lot of us to do. I could have, when Cindy Lou Who died, because she jumped on my dad really slowly. It was one of those old trucks that made a lot of noise. So I was screaming, "Dad, Dad, Dad," and he couldn't hear me because the truck was so loud. So in my mind, as a 6-year-old, I kept figuring out ways that I could make sure my dad heard me. But that it couldn't change anything, right? So I needed an adult to help me trying to figure out how to make it so that it wasn't my fault, because I couldn't save it. I couldn't work it out differently. So you need to help them realize also it is not their fault. Sometimes awful, awful things happen, and sometimes they're just kind of sucks. Create a sense of support and safety. Make sure that your children know that although they have lost their dear friend, they have the love, support, and understanding of their family always. Look for positive emotions. Start small. Go for walks. What do you find that is lovely? What are you enjoying in your world that day? Is there a pretty rock that you find? Is there a nice bee that is buzzing? Just try to find something good. Focus on the positive. Allow the pet to live on. That pet will always have a place in your family. So your child can always bring that pet up into the conversation. Like, in 3 months, you guys go for a walk as a family, and they're allowed to say, "Oh, Daisy would have loved this path." And, and it's not like the conversation just gets stilted. It creates normalcy for your child around the pet being gone. Yes, Daisy would have loved it. You're absolutely right. The child is starting to be able to talk about their friend in a loving way, and in a way that is like, I loved who they were, and it's sad that they're gone, but look, this would have made them so happy. And that's really healthy. Linear. One of the hardest things to remember when we get busy as adults is that our children feel differently than we do. Not like they feel, they absorb things in a different way than we do. We too are so devastated by these losses. However, as grown-ups, typically, we have developed more skills in our toolboxes to build our own resilience. Remember that grief and pain are not linear. So your child may or may not have seemed to have grieved the loss. They may or may not have needed to have closure. And then one day you see that they're playing and they're laughing and they seem to be done with the whole thing. They've just moved on. And then another day you find them in their room one day and they're sad and they're weepy and they may not even know why. Just be patient and be supportive and try to help them find and identify their feelings. Let their feelings, whatever they are, be okay. Some children may feel guilty that they are not stricken with pain like their siblings. Everyone feels differently for various reasons, and that is okay. Losing a pet can be an emotional and devastating experience for many children. It is important to acknowledge their feelings, offer comfort, and support them, and help them understand what has actually happened. By providing a safe and loving environment, we can help build our children's resilience and smile while remembering the good memories. Eventually, they will remember their pet with fondness and love instead of sadness. And the amazing movie quote after the Cindy Lou Who experience for this week is, "All dogs go to heaven because unlike people, dogs are naturally good and loyal and kind." From Whippet Angel in All Dogs Go to Heaven. If you are hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode, and for that, I want to send you a huge thank you. Please leave me a comment or review and share with other moms you know. Get in touch in the comments or on Kara's social media network.